Please, sir, may I have some more?
Non-apologetic news, not what you're used to. Non-apologetic news, telling you the truth. Non-apologetic news, saying what they're scared to. Non-apologetic news, non-apologetic news. Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to this action-packed episode of Non-Apologetic News. I am Travisty. Next to me, as always, is Body Bag. Today we discuss a judge, a lawyer, all of them in hot water. We are Non-Apologetic News. For those listening, we redid that intro 3 times, but I think we got it right this time. What I want to talk about is an attorney who was accused of stealing $8.5 million. That's with a million. Alex Murdaugh reportedly cooked up an imaginary $500,000 injury settlement for a client hurt in a car wreck, just so he could take an extra $200,000 in fraudulent attorney fees for himself. And he'd write a cashier's check to someone in his family and have them cash it, thinking like they couldn't put 2 and 2 together. So he did it like there was one woman, her husband died, and she got a settlement. So he negotiated, he settled it, showed her the paperwork, paid her the right amount of money, then went back and renegotiated for an extra $89,000. And of course, she never saw that. So he has a total of 71 charges, most of which are felonies. And convicted on all these charges, he would face hundreds of years in prison. Yeah. So the facts of this case don't interest me so much as his photo did. Let me pop this sucker up. Okay, so this is the guy, right? Now, one thing that stuck out to me is this guy's eyes. He is scared. Right? You know, he knows it's all over with. He knows this is it. And to me, what we're looking at here is the face of greed, right? He stole from he stole from every one of his clients. I imagine he started stealing a little bit at a time and then had to keep up with the lifestyle he built for himself, right? So, you know, most people do when they come in a little bit of money and they start hanging out with people with even more money, they have to show off their money so they're accepted, and it just keeps spiraling down. So this is one of those things like, what decisions led him here? Did like he steal $25 and was like, hey, that covers lunch. So next time he stole $125 and he's like, why pay for lunch ever again? Now, I think the moral of this story is that if you have greed and envy inside of you, you have to find a way to control it. You know, this guy, you know, he let greed and envy get the best of him over $8.5 million. But I know plenty of people who will let greed get the best of them over $1,000. You know, they'll screw over their best friend. They'll do whatever they have to do. And most people will never see $8 million. They'll do it over a little bit of cash laid out on someone's coffee table, right. You know. They start, oh, well, what if I had what they had? And then I'd be great. Nah, you'd still be the same piece of dirt you are. You just have that little bit of money you stole from someone who trusted you. So do not let greed and envy destroy you. And if you have greed and envy inside of you that is just uncontrollable, please do me a favor and stay away from me. What do you want to talk about today?
We're going to talk about a boy falling asleep on a school bus and waking up alone. A grandmother in Virginia is looking for answers after her 7-year-old grandson woke up alone at a bus barn. Yesterday morning, she saw him get on the school bus with her own eyes, so she was confused when he showed up at her doorstep just hours later with the strangers. The young boy tearfully explained to his grandmother how he fell asleep on the bus and woke up alone. Marcus said he had to push the door to the school bus open to get out and tried to walk to school. They allegedly told Robertson there's a video of the school bus driver exiting the bus without checking to see if anyone else was still on. Yeah. So how is that? Yeah, get up. You're fucking 7 years old.
Well, how do you get home?
2 strangers brought him.
So he was just walking down the street and someone was like, would you like a candy bar? And just picked up this young fella?
Yeah. Just happened for once to be a decent stranger. It's like, no, you're really going home. It's fine.
So they're going to fire the bus driver, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, and 100% blame it on him, which it is probably mostly his fault. But that is kind of weird that bus driver thought all the kids were off the bus, went to the bus barn, bippity boppity boop,
popped out, left the kid there. The kid had to pry open. Couldn't you have used the handle if he's on the inside? Like the whole thing? Like why? Okay, that is a bit dramatic. So we'll just have to take his word for it. What if he was like skipping school and like none of this actually happened?
Right, this is all his
he got picked up on the side of the road and he was like, oh shoot, they caught me. Because when I was
started crying, I'm scared.
When I was that young, I used to skip school like in junior high, but I didn't live anywhere near there. So I would just like roam the streets in Webb City. And every time I saw a car, we'd like duck into a bush and think. I remember stopping at a gas station and I thought the clerk was on to me, who didn't care at all. And I'm like, yeah, in case you're wondering, I had a dental appointment today and that's why I'm not in school at the current moment. But that person didn't give half a shit what I was doing in there, But I was like,
oh, fuck about your teeth.
Well, because at that point they had like a truancy officer who would like drive around and I guess look for guys such as me. I mean, let's say it really did happen. I mean, it's good he's okay because the wrong person would have picked him up and this would be a totally different story. And if it was a totally different story, they'd probably hit that driver for like accomplice to murder or something.
Yeah, they'd find some charge.
Oh, they'd hit him hard because it could never be the school's fault for hiring someone who is not good at their job.
No.
All right, more serious matter. Well, I guess that was a pretty serious matter there. I'd like to get into this week's
Hot Topic.
I just love that button.
Hot Topic.
There's a new tax rule that requires all of the payment collection agencies, so your PayPal, your Cash App, your Venmo, anything through Facebook Marketplace, that if you sell more than $600 per year, they're going to report it to the IRS and you're going to get taxed for that amount. This just started. Last year, you had to have sold a total of $20,000 and or done 200 transactions for them to report you. Now, I'm someone who sells online, and this directly affects me because by the time I had read this, I'm already well past this. Like, I'm going to get the 1099 this year. Here's what's crazy is the wording. It says a new tax rule that will see the Internal Revenue Service gain intel on the income small businesses made. So what they're able to do now is they're going to be able to cross-reference PayPal's website, Venmo's website. Who does this hurt, right? This doesn't hurt big business because they're already, making, like last year, it was you could make 20,000 or 200 transactions, how it's always been. Big business is already past that. So they're already filing. Who's this hurts is the guy trying to start up a small business who needs a little bit of extra money and to not get his balls taxed off. During the pandemic, people started a lot more small businesses in the past 2 years than it's ever, it's like such higher. I mean, you watch Shark Tank, everybody's got a stupid idea. Right. But, and you might say, and I'm sure a lot of people are, I imagine you're upset and overweight if you say this, but you might say, well, I pay taxes, so they should have to pay taxes too. But like me, I do all right. I'm not rich or anything, but I do all right. And if someone who was in a lesser income bracket than me could get a break and pay less taxes than me, I'm all for it. Like, let's show some empathy, people. It's not that hard. What this is, it's about squeezing every last dollar out of the poor man to make sure he stays at the bottom. Please, sir, may I have some more? It's keeping you down at that very bottom with the shackles on and living paycheck to paycheck. It's the IRS wanting every little dime we can squeeze out of you. So I'd like to say that everyone needs to be careful. And if you do sell online, don't listen to people who say the transaction has to exceed $600. It's the total amount. So I see people online being like, I'll just do $200-$300. No, you idiot. They can see that too. That tax man is coming to collect next year. And I think that about wraps up this week's
Hot Topic.
Oh, what's next?
A judge shamed and fined a cancer patient for his unkept yard and told him if jail time was an option, she'd fucking order it.
What a bitch.
Right? A father and son appeared for an online court appointment for a citation they received for their unkept yard in Michigan. But instead of a slap on the wrist from the judge, the father was berated.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was the wrong one.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, go ahead.
A cancer patient was given a citation in May 2021 for not keeping up with the yard work. Well, his son, Schreiber, an only child, was in Bangladesh from May to August and wasn't aware of the ticket until he returned. Immediately upon returning, he made necessary arrangements to appear in court for the citation. During the appearance, Burhan appeared with Shiver there to help bridge the language gap, since the older man doesn't speak a great deal of English. Burhan has...
Neither do you.
Clearly.
He essentially didn't mow his grass.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the city had to mow it, and that judge is like taking it personal where she's going to keep the thumb down on him.
Yeah. The judge, Alexis G. Crott, had some strong words for him.
I'd call her crotch.
Yeah. Said, you should be ashamed of yourself. CNN has reached out to her about it, but she has not responded back.
Now, see, I have a similar situation going on. I just took ownership of a couple properties, and the city has contacted me and said they have an existing lien on it for like $10,000 for yard work being done for the past several years, $150 a month. So this kind of stuff does happen. And before I get any messages, this was like a tax sale thing. You do a title search, so the lien wasn't on there. It's like this weird gray area. But yeah, they'll hit you on that, and then they'll put a lien on your property at some point where you're not going to be able to sell it. You're not going to be able to do anything. And some cities will actually move it into foreclosure, because when they apply like that lien, that past due bill, they do it as like a tax lien. Just the same as if you didn't pay your taxes. That's how people lose property. That's how I took ownership of all these properties.
That's a fucking $100 fine. She berated this fucking sick man.
So they only charge him $100.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's
But if
way
jail time was an option,
she's way early on this process.
Yeah.
Like this property we were talking about of mine, like the $100 would have occurred like 9 years ago. You know what I mean? That's less than 1 month of what this city's trying to charge me for all of their, their back stuff.
Yeah. Cancer, weak. His son took care of the yard as soon as he got back.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then he got the ticket. Although, on the other hand, you have to have money to have spent the last 3 months in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
So they could have just hired a landscaping crew or something, I imagine.
Family over there. By these names, it seems like that.
Yeah.
They said the dad doesn't speak very good English either. So.
Yeah, well, us here at
Non-Apologetic News
would like to tell the judge, fuck you.
Yeah.
We are out of your jurisdiction. You cannot do anything to me. So
Eat it.
come at me, kraut crotch. And on that note, I think that wraps up another successful episode of Non-Apologetic News. We will be right back here 1 week from today, next Wednesday. And let's not forget, we are 2 weeks away from Elden Ring. It's going down, people. Get your pre-orders in and get your game on. Do not watch the news.
Non-Apologetic News. Non-Apologetic News.